Hello, this is Everett, and this is the start of another series. Had a bunch of folks from the YouTube channel request a video series on model railroad planning and design. So this is going to be my shot at such a shared series. I'll probably do this using a combination of videos and stills and computer desktop captures of movies to try to convey the information I want to give you about basically my boots on the ground experience with building and designing a layout of this magnitude. This is probably the most ambitious project I've undertaken. So in hopes that you can get a practical view of what it is to plan and build something like this, and inspire you as you plan and build your own empire. And I will probably focus in on a few of the design elements that I've incorporated in my layout. Probably one of the things I'll focus in on, which some of you may find useful, is how I built and designed this suspended staging yard here. We got a good shot of that, so you can see what I did. I think I showed it briefly in my other layout overview, but like I said, there's been a whole ton written on the subject of design, especially by John Armstrong, is one of the pioneers of layout design, so he's a good source of materials. Yeah, but like I say, this is going to be more of a boots on the ground blog, so to speak, and just the things that I learned in layout design, and hopefully that will inspire and educate you and motivate you to build your dream layout. Anyway, that's it. Let me get started with the series. Okay, well, this excuse me, next two or three videos I'm going to put together, if you've already have experience with computer-aided design, you may want to skip these next 2 or 3 segments, because what I'm going to talk about is going to be fairly basic, geared towards beginners, and also those folks out there who may not have used a computer-aided design program before for laying out a room and getting a general lay of the land of where the layout is going to go. So I'm going to get into that later, and maybe give a little brief overview of how useful a CAD program can be. And after a little practice, it's not really that hard to use. There's no real reason to feel intimidated about it, but I'll get that later, work on that later in the series. So this, like I say, this next section is geared towards those who are just beginning, some of you young folks out there who may be trying to negotiate with your parents for space, or trying to figure out where things are going to fit, and also folks who just don't own a CAD program, or are just intimidated by using it. So let me get started. When you you gotta ask some questions about what you want to do with your layout before you get started. One of the fundamental questions are, what do I want to model? Do you want to model a specific scene? Are you going to a prototype, a scene from a prototype, a entire division, a subdivision, a short railroad line, whatever. A specific prototype, or are you going to do freelance, invent your own railroad? And of course, that will lead into the next question: how much space do you have available? And one will dictate or help constrain the other. You know, obviously you're not, if you don't have a lot of space, you're not going to do model an entire division of a prototype. Those are things you have to keep in mind. And then, you know, once you've asked these two questions, then another question that comes into mind is, what scale are you going to use? In my example, for my layout here, I opted to go for N scale simply because of certain constraints I had on space. For example, from floor to ceiling, I only have, this is an older house, so from floor to ceiling it's maybe about 6 feet 3 inches. So I wanted to do mountain railroading, so obviously that would the amount of height I had available would, you know, constrain that so much, because I didn't want to have the track so far down I'd have to bend over to work on it to get the kind of mountain scenery I want, or the heights or the elevation and things like that. And another thing with HO scale is that it does indeed take up a lot of space to do mountain, a fair amount of space, at least to do the mountain areas I wanted to. So that's why I decided to switch the N scale, because it has a very high scenery to track ratio, and I could model the vistas that I wanted to. So those were my reasons for going with N scale. And you know, you may have you know, obviously everybody's situation is going to be different, so that will help determine ultimately what you're going to do, what scale you're going to model in. So what I did here as a starter, and this is just giving you a rough draft of what you're going to do. Okay, I took some graph paper, okay, and this is a hypothetical room. It's whatever room you want to build, or you're hoping to build your layout in. You'll want to measure it with a tape measure, length and width, and just draw it on your graph paper. Just a quick and dirty sketch, and you want to set some standards for yourself here. For example, 2 of these squares together represent 1 foot. So I made little tick marks along the top here so I could count how many feet I had. And so from here to here, 17 feet. From here to here, 13 feet. Real quick and simple. Then what you need to do is measure some of the items in the room that you have. For example, if it's a family room, you may have a couple of couches, or 1 couch and a couple of chairs. So you want to get rough measurements of those. And what I did was I took some cardstock paper and just cut out a rough size of the item that's going to be in the room. Let's put the couch over here. Oh, in addition, when you draw the room, you want to draw any other elements that are a part of it. I mean, for example, is there a window here? Let's put a window here. Oh, let's put a window over here. Kind of rough. Just draw it in. Doesn't have to be exact, but just get the position right. You know, if it's 4 feet from here, you want to measure 4 or 5 feet in, and use your squares to determine that. And if you have a doorway right here, let's put a doorway right there. You want to measure that as well, just to get a ballpark idea of where things are at, to help you think things through.